Morning, Tiza.
Morning.
Hi.
Good morning, Lisa and Weeby. Hi, how are you?
We're good, thank you. How are you?
Good, good.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, it's a pleasure having you here. So when I saw the trailer, and we just saw also together the trailer on this screen, it's just devastating, and it is also scary. But at the same time, I'm thinking, wow, plastic has become an integrated part of our lives. So can we actually live without plastic?
Well, it's not just plastic that's become an integrated part of our lives. It's the microplastics, unfortunately. The waste from plastic, unfortunately, has become an integrated part of our lives. So much so that it actually appears on our plates, it appears in our food and in our drinks. And the movie discusses how we're not in a position now where we can just ignore it, because it is doing harmful things to us already. So hopefully, people are moved to start doing something about it, and go beyond just individual action, but also into targeting systemic change and policy changes.
So we can actually live without plastic.
Absolutely. And actually, the movie really emphasizes this fact that it's really important. If we want to the single-use plastic waste issue, we really need to start from prevention, not just, not throwing trash away, but not using single-use plastic in the first place. And in order to do that, we need to also be more assertive in saying we don't need single-use plastics, not this much. Why are you guys still producing it? So there's a lot of action in the movie that focuses on the problem, but also the solutions.
Oh, great.
All right, Tiza. So you went out and made this documentary to see for yourself the problems we are facing about plastic here in Indonesia. What is the most concerning problem? Is it the mindset? Is it the habit? What's really causing this plastic problem in Indonesia?
Yeah, well, I was actually asked to be part of the documentary because of activities that I've done about for 8 years now with my organization, the Indonesia Plastic Bag Diet Movement. And I was approached by the movie makers to say, you would be willing to be starred in this documentary. And I said, basically, what do I have to do? And they said, whatever you're already doing, so you don't need to change anything. Okay, fine. So they asked for my schedule, and then they followed me around for a few months back in 2019. And there are three activists that are featured in this film, and the common thread between us all is that we're focusing on prevention of plastic. We believe that prevention is the key. And it's interesting. We're three different characters. Robi is the band leader of Nabikula, arguably the most famous rock band based in Bali. And Prigi, he's a scientist. He looks at microplastics in the river every single day. And I am a policy activist, and I advocate for changes in policies to ban single-use plastics. And so we come together and we collaborate, and we explain the things that we're doing. And at the end of the movie, you'll see that we're joined by not just a few other organizations, but hundreds of other organizations that are all in support of this common mission to prevent single-use plastics from being used in the first place.
Right. So what does microplastic do to our body when it's inside our body?
It's a chemical. It can't be good, that's for sure. And my friend Prigi, who's the other activist featured in the film, he knows a lot more about that. But he has told me, that it actually absorbs a lot of things, microplastic. So it acts as when it comes into our body, it's not just the plastic that comes in, but it's also the chemicals, the bacteria that the plastic has absorbed from wherever it has traveled, which is, everywhere. And the scary thing is that it's not just in fish, but it's also in our water, it's also in our salt. It's even also in rainwater. because it can now be airborne. So it's not just the coronavirus that's airborne. Unfortunately, it's also microplastics.
Oh, wow.
And that it really underlines the urgency of the matter that we're dealing with.
Wow, so basically if we don't solve this problem, we're basically slowly killing ourselves.
It seems like we are.
Right?
All right, Tiza, I want to ask you this. The documentary itself was shot in 2019, before we hit the COVID-19 pandemic. And with this pandemic, it seems like we're even more inseparable with the use of single-use plastics.
Yes.
How has this changed maybe the movement of the plastic activists in Indonesia or in the world right now, since people are using it more and more?
Yeah.
Will it be much harder challenge to fight this problem right now?
It has definitely caused much frustration from those of us who are actively working on, against single-use plastic on a daily basis. We've seen an increase in single-use plastics from single-use masks. I mean, that in and of itself is probably explainable, right? Because it's a necessary item. However, we're also seeing an increase in single-use packaging for food deliveries, for any kind of deliveries, as people are buying things online all the time. Now, what's most frustrating about that is that it's so unnecessary. Sometimes we order things that are wrapped in, 3 layers of bubble wrap,
Yes.
and it's not
Yes, I
necessary.
can agree.
We buy food, there's a cable tie on it. Why is there a cable tie? Couldn't you just use a sticker? There's single-use cutleries, plastic forks and spoons, where I'm ordering to my home,
Yeah.
like as if we don't think I have cutleries at home. It's so frustrating on a daily basis, and it's been hard this year because of that.
So what do you think is the right regulation or policy that a country should have to reduce plastic waste, but in a sustainable way? Particularly in Indonesia, what sort of policies should the government produce in order to solve this problem, since it became worse during COVID?
Yeah, I'm in support of existing regulations that we've worked hard to push for the past 7 years. Of cities that are starting to ban single-use plastics. Jakarta is a notable example of a city that went ahead with its ban on plastic bags.
Yes.
On the 1st of July. And remember, this was in the middle of the pandemic. Right before that, we received enormous pressure to delay that ban, because the industries were saying that this is the pandemic. Are you sure you want to ban this? This is necessary, for sanitation and hygiene. But Jakarta, was consistent and released the ban at the time that it was scheduled to be released, and I think that was an achievement in of itself. So that is already a good direction to take. But the thing is that online shopping is a contemporary issue.
Yes.
We didn't realize that online shopping would take on the kind of popularity that it has taken on in 2020, right? Of course.
Yeah.
And the regulations in place just weren't ready for that. It was ready for regulating supermarkets. To an extent, it was ready to regulate traditional markets, but not online stores. So there needs to be some discussions on what kind of policies should be applicable to online stores. And those discussions are already happening.
All right.
All right, Tiza. So the thing about like plastic banning and everything, it is a good move, like you said. But we've seen also backlashes of people who are just used to having plastics around, especially single-use plastic, and they talk about cost and reliability of using that kind of product. What's your answer to comments like that, Tiza?
I think that they're outliers. We've done multiple surveys of consumers to ask what their behavior has been since the ban here in Jakarta, in Bali, in Bandung. We've surveyed 4 different cities. And consistently, people are saying they support the ban, they support the reduction of single-use plastics, they own a reusable bag. So 99.9% of people own reusable bags in their homes. And in Jakarta, 89% are frequently bringing it with them wherever they go. So those numbers point to something different from what we commonly hear is backlash. Those numbers point to how people are actually already prepared. They're aware of why this needs to happen. So I would say that some of these voices are outliers, and they get amplified for some reason, but are outliers.
Yeah. Tiza, I've known you for a while as an environmental activist as well. So why do you care so much about this particular issue? What happened in your life that made you think, you know what, this is going to be my fight? And I know that you also have a child, you're also married. This is going to be my fight forever. What makes you want to fight for this issue?
Yeah, I was always an environmentalist, I think, from an early age, but my career path initially didn't take me there. I was a corporate lawyer for 6 years, and in the middle of my work there, I realized that I didn't want to be a corporate lawyer anymore. There were moments when I was working where I had to do stuff for my clients that were not in line with what I wanted to do. I had to go purchase a piece of land out in central Java. And when I got there, it was a beautiful paddy field. It was green, it was beautiful. And I had to purchase that land for my client because they wanted to turn it into a cement factory. And I remember that night after the transaction closed, I went back to my hotel and I cried because I couldn't fathom, what I had just did. So I realized that I couldn't stay. I just didn't know what I needed to do next. So that's when I started volunteering in environmental organizations, environmental activities. And from there, I met people and began to get an idea of what has been done, what hasn't been done. And it was pretty clear to me that the issue of plastics was something that more people needed to talk about, and not much had been done at the time. This was in 2013. And that's when I decided to do something, take it into my own hands and do something. And from there, I was still at the law firm, but as the movement grew, so did my resolve to leave the law firm, and I did, and I never looked back, never regretted it.
Well, we're happy to have you in that environmental pool.
Yeah, it's an inspiring fight that you are doing right now. The trailer has caused massive,
a lot of buzz,
which is good. We hope that the movie itself will send a good message and everyone will hear you loud and clear.
Yeah, when is it going to be screened, by the way? I mean, is it going to be online, or are they going to be screened at the cinemas? And what's the date?
It's going to be launched on Earth Day, that's 22 April, and it's playing in cinemas, but not all at the same time. So it's going to play in cinemas in Bali first, and then it's going to move to Surabaya, and then Jakarta.
Right.
And then to other cities. I think it's Makassar and Medan, Jakarta meaning Jabodetabek, so it's a wider cast. And we'll be able to see it in cinemas, and then shortly after that, it will probably be available online as well. But we'll see how it goes.
That would be great. I cannot wait to watch Pulau Plastik. And for those of you who are interested in this documentary and seeing the schedule again and what they do, what sort of campaign they do, you can go to pulauplastik.org. Is that correct, Tiza?
Yep, pulauplastik.org.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Tiza Mafira, for sharing with us. We wish you the best of luck with your fight, because this is a very good fight, especially for our children. You have a good day.
Thank
Bye,
you very
Tiza.
much.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.